The unexpected invitation. Olivia Mercer stared at the cream-colored envelope in her hand, the embossed gold lettering catching the late afternoon sunlight streaming through her apartment window. This had to be a mistake. Why would she, a struggling photographer whose studio was her converted bathroom, receive an invitation to the Everett Foundation's annual charity gala? You're kidding me, her roommate Tessa exclaimed, peering over Olivia's shoulder. That's the event, the one everyone's dying to attend. Julian Everett only invites the elite of the elite. It has to be a mistake, Olivia murmured, turning the envelope over. Probably meant for the previous tenant. The invitation was addressed to Olivia M. Vague enough to be coincidental, specific enough to make her wonder. Mistake or not, this is the universe handing you an opportunity, Tessa said, flopping onto their second-hand sofa. You've been saying you need to network with people who can actually afford your work. The room will be filled with them. Olivia bit her lip. Going to an event I wasn't actually invited to feels wrong. The invitation came to your address with your first name on it, Tessa reasoned. Technically you were invited. Olivia's phone pinged with another rejection email from a gallery. 6 months of submissions, 6 months of rejections. Her savings were dwindling, and soon she'd need to find work outside photography just to make rent. What's the worst that could happen? Tessa continued. They realize you're not whoever they thought and ask you to leave. At least you'd get to enjoy the fancy appetizers first. Olivia laughed, despite herself. I don't even have anything to wear. My cousin Renee works at that boutique downtown. She can hook us up with something borrowed for the night. 2 days later, Olivia stood before her mirror in a midnight blue gown that hugged her curves before flowing gracefully to the floor. Renee had worked magic, finding a dress that perfectly complemented Olivia's warm brown skin and hazel eyes. See, meant to be, Tessa said, carefully pinning up Olivia's dark curls. I still feel like an imposter, Olivia admitted. Everyone there is pretending to be something they're not, Tessa replied with a shrug. You're just being more literal about it. As the taxi approached the glittering Everett Tower, Olivia's stomach tightened with nerves. Magnificent glass architecture reached toward the night sky, illuminated from within like a beacon. Remember, Tessa said, adjusting Olivia's borrowed diamond earrings, you belong here as much as anyone. Keep your head high, smile mysteriously, and take mental photos of everything for inspiration. Olivia nodded, clutching her small purse containing her actual camera. If I get caught, I'm blaming you entirely. Fair enough. Now go steal yourself a billionaire. I'm going to network, not husband hunt, Olivia corrected with an eye roll. But as she ascended the steps to Everett Tower's grand entrance, Olivia couldn't help wondering about the mysterious Julian Everett. The tech genius was notoriously private despite his wealth. Magazines described him as brilliant, demanding, and impossibly handsome, though Olivia figured that last part was probably exaggerated. Little did she know, within hours, she'd be testing that theory firsthand. A night of facades. The Everett Foundation Gala buzzed with energy as champagne flowed and diamonds glittered under crystal chandeliers. Olivia moved through the crowd with calculated confidence, camera concealed in her clutch, ready for discreet photography. She felt like an anthropologist studying an exotic species, the ultra-wealthy in their natural habitat. Champagne, miss, a server offered, balancing a tray of flutes. Thank you, Olivia replied, accepting a glass while scanning the room. She hadn't spotted Julian Everett yet, though his presence was everywhere in the carefully curated art adorning the walls, that cutting-edge technology seamlessly integrated into the venue, and the whispered conversations mentioning his name. As she backed up to frame a mental photograph of the room, Olivia collided with someone solid. Her champagne splashed spectacularly across an impeccably tailored tuxedo. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, she gasped, mortified. The man turned, and Olivia's heart stopped. Piercing gray eyes, strong jawline, dark hair with just a touch of silver at the temples. Magazine photos hadn't done Julian Everett justice. No harm done, he said, his voice surprisingly warm. Though you might be the first person to spill anything on me tonight. Everyone else has been too busy trying to impress me. Olivia fumbled for her cocktail napkin. I wasn't trying to make an impression, believe me. Precisely why you have, he replied, a hint of amusement playing at his lips. You are Olivia, she answered, deciding simplicity was safest. Olivia Mercer. Julian tilted his head slightly. Mercer, from Mercer Investments. No, just Mercer, she said honestly. I'm a photographer. Interesting. Most photographers here were hired by my foundation. Olivia's pulse quickened. I'm more of a creative consultant tonight. Well, creative consultant Olivia Mercer, would you like to see something most guests don't get to see? Before she could answer, a sleek man in a tailored suit approached. Mr. Everett, the Japanese investors are asking for you. Tell them I'll be there shortly. Vincent, Julian replied, eyes still on Olivia. Vincent's gaze flicked to Olivia with subtle suspicion before he nodded and retreated. Your assistant doesn't approve of me, Olivia observed. Vincent doesn't approve of anyone who takes my attention from business, Julian said. Now, about that exclusive view. He led her through the crowd, people parting automatically before him, to a private elevator requiring his fingerprint. Moments later, they emerged onto a rooftop garden overlooking the glittering cityscape. Breathtaking, Olivia whispered genuinely. I come here to think, Julian said, standing beside her, away from people who want something from me. And what do you think about, she asked, lately? How success feels emptier than I expected. Olivia studied his profile. Most people in that room would trade places with you in a heartbeat, would you? He asked, turning to face her. No, she answered honestly. I'd rather take photographs of beautiful things than own them. Something in his expression shifted. You're not what I expected tonight, Olivia Mercer. What did you expect? The usual flattery, business pitches disguised as conversation, people laughing too hard at my jokes. I haven't heard you make any jokes yet, Olivia pointed out with a small smile. Julian laughed, a genuine sound that transformed his face. Touche. Perhaps that's why I find you refreshing. As the night air wrapped around them, Olivia felt both exhilarated and terrified. She was connecting with Julian Everett as herself, while standing on a foundation of deception that could crumble at any moment. Truth and consequences. 3 weeks after the gala, Olivia still couldn't believe she was standing in the sleek headquarters of Everett Technologies, professional camera in hand. Julian had tracked down her modest photography website and commissioned her to document the launch of his company's newest innovation. Ms. Mercer, Vincent greeted coolly as she stepped off the elevator. Mr. Everett is in final preparations. I'll show you where to set up. As they walked through the bustling office, Olivia felt Vincent's calculating gaze. Strange, he remarked, how someone with your limited portfolio secured this job. Perhaps Mr. Everett sees potential others have missed, she replied, maintaining her composure while her stomach nodded. Over the next several hours, Olivia worked diligently, capturing the energy of the event while stealing glances at Julian. Whenever their eyes met across the room, her heart performed an inconvenient gymnastics routine. During a brief lull, Julian appeared at her side. What do you think? He asked honestly. You've created something remarkable, she answered, scrolling through her previews to show him. See how I captured the wonder on people's faces? That's genuine impact. Julian stood close enough that she could smell his subtle cologne. Have dinner with me tonight, he said. Not quite a question. Is that professional? She asked, though her pulse raced at the prospect. Probably not, he admitted with a half smile that made her dizzy. But I find myself thinking about our conversation on the rooftop more than I should. Dinner became a series of evenings together discussing art, debating philosophy, sharing dreams. Julian revealed the loneliness behind his success. Olivia shared her passion for capturing authentic moments. What she didn't share was how she'd come to be at his gala. Meanwhile, Vincent had been investigating. He discovered no record of any Olivia Mercer on the original guest list. On a rainy Tuesday, Olivia arrived at Julian's penthouse for what she thought was dinner. Instead, she found him standing by the window, face hardened. Who are you really? He asked without turning. What do you mean? She replied, though ice filled her veins. Vincent tells me you weren't on the guest list for my gala, that your invitation was likely meant for Olivia Montgomery, heiress to Montgomery Media. Olivia's mouth went dry. Julian, was any of it real? He demanded, finally facing her. Or was getting close to me your plan all along? It wasn't like that, she insisted, tears threatening. The invitation came to my address. I was struggling, needed connections, so you lied. He interrupted, voice dangerously quiet. Used me for opportunity. No, that's not. I've spent my life surrounded by people wanting something from me. I thought you were different. I am different. What developed between us is real. What's real is that you started with a lie, he said coldly, and I have no interest in discovering what other deceptions follow. As security escorted her from the building, rain mingling with her tears, Olivia realized she'd gained the career opportunities she wanted, only to lose something far more precious. Paths recrossed 3 months later. Olivia stood nervously in the corner of Gallery Mid, watching as art critics and potential buyers examined her photographs. After the disaster with Julian, she had channeled her heartbreak into her work, creating a series titled Glimpses of Wealth that captured the beauty and emptiness of privilege. Unexpectedly, the collection had caught the attention of Dominique Carver, one of the city's most influential gallery owners. You've created something extraordinary here, Dominique said, approaching with 2 champagne flutes. 3 pieces sold already, including the centerpiece. Olivia's eyes drifted to her favorite photograph, a silhouette against a glittering cityscape, the loneliness palpable despite the surrounding splendor. She hadn't labeled it Julian, but his essence was unmistakable. Do you know who purchased it? She asked, before Dominique could answer. The gallery doors opened and conversations hushed. Julian Everett entered, his presence commanding the room. Beside him walked a stunning woman in a scarlet dress, Penelope Westwood, the tech journalist known for her scathing reviews and equally famous social connections. I should have known, Olivia whispered, accepting the champagne and taking a fortifying sip. He requested a private viewing last week, Dominique admitted. Came alone. Spent an hour looking at just your photographs. Olivia's heart stuttered as Julian's gaze found hers across the room. For a moment, something raw and unguarded passed between them before Penelope placed a possessive hand on his arm, steering him toward another exhibit. Olivia Mercer, a smooth voice spoke behind her. Vincent Blake. She turned to find Julian's assistant watching her with calculating eyes. Here to make sure I don't crash another exclusive event. Actually, I came to apologize, Vincent said unexpectedly. I was protecting my employer, but I was ... overzealous. Why tell me now? Because he hasn't been the same since you left, focused on work to the point of obsession. He seems to have recovered, Olivia remarked, glancing toward Julian and Penelope. Appearances can be deceiving, something you understand quite well, Vincent replied without malice. Later, as the crowd thinned, Olivia found herself alone in a quiet corner when Julian approached. Your work is extraordinary, he said simply. Thank you, she replied, heart racing. Congratulations on your new product launch, and your date. Penelope isn't my date. She's writing a profile on emerging artists. Dominic invited her. Dominic, Olivia asked. My business partner. He's the one who told me about your exhibition. An uncomfortable silence stretched between them. I purchased the cityscape, Julian finally admitted. I recognized myself in it immediately. It was therapeutic, Olivia said softly, capturing what I'd lost. Had lost, he corrected, eyes intense, past tense. Before she could respond, Penelope appeared. Julian, darling, we're expected at the Grayson dinner. As he was pulled away, Julian looked back at Olivia. We're not finished, he said, leaving her to wonder exactly what that meant. Hearts reconciled over the following weeks. Olivia found herself navigating an unexpected new reality. Her photography career was finally taking off 3 more. Galleries had requested exhibitions, yet her thoughts constantly returned to Julian. He had begun appearing at her showings, always briefly, always leaving her with cryptic remarks or meaningful glances before business or Penelope pulled him away. Vincent had become an unlikely ally, occasionally calling with scheduling questions that evolved into conversations about Julian's current projects. He's opening a new photography wing at the Everett Museum of Modern Art, Vincent mentioned during one such call. You should submit your portfolio. I don't need charity, Olivia replied firmly. It's not charity when you're the best candidate, Vincent countered. On a rainy evening exactly 6 months after their first meeting, Olivia unveiled her new collection, Authentic Deceptions, exploring the masks people wear and the truths beneath them. The gallery buzzed with anticipation. Her name now drew significant crowds that as she prepared to address the attendees, the gallery doors opened. Julian entered, alone and determined. Without acknowledging anyone else, he walked directly to Olivia. I need to speak with you, he said, voice low and urgent. I'm about to give my opening remarks, she whispered. Perfect timing, he replied with unexpected warmth, confused but curious. Olivia approached the microphone. Thank you all for coming tonight. This collection explores the facades we create and the courage required to reveal our true selves, a lesson I learned the hard way. Julian's voice carried across the room as he stepped forward. The crowd murmured in surprise. When Olivia Mercer came into my life, she didn't belong there, at least according to my guest list. Olivia's cheeks burned as every eye turned toward them. What she didn't realize, Julian continued, is that sometimes the universe sends exactly what we need, not what we think we want. He turned to face her directly. I've spent my life building walls to keep people at a distance. You crashed into those walls, quite literally, with champagne, he added, drawing laughs from the crowd. And for the first time I was grateful for the damage. Julian took her hand. Your initial deception brought honesty into my life. I'd rather have complicated truth with you than perfect facades with anyone else. Are you saying this in front of everyone to make it harder for me to reject you? Olivia asked, only half joking. I'm saying it in front of everyone because I'm tired of pretending you haven't completely captured my heart, he answered. No more facades, Olivia. Just us, as their lips met to applause from the gathered crowd. Olivia realized some unexpected invitations lead exactly where we're meant to be.